These Election 2021 candidate interviews are sponsored by Edmonds College, Office Tech, and James Russell PLLC, Certified Public Accountants and Business Advisors. Hello, I'm Teresa Whipple, publisher of Lynnwood Today, along with Linda Jones, President and CEO of the Lynnwood Chamber of Commerce, and we are welcoming you to our 2021 candidate interviews for Lynnwood City Council and Lynnwood Mayor. And we are going to start today with Lynnwood City Council Position 2. But Linda, before we begin, welcome. I'm so glad you're here to help me with this.
Thank you. This is great partnering with you for this, and it's an important effort, and I'm excited to meet all the candidates.
Yeah, me too. All right, so we will bring in Patrick Decker, who is position 2 candidate for Lynnwood City Council. Patrick, we'd like to start with the first question, which is a fairly simple one, and that is, what experiences would you bring to the council, and how are they relevant to being an effective council member?
Great question, and thank you for hosting this. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to the two of you and to the people of Lynnwood as well. I've been in Lynnwood for 35 years. I've lived here. I married my wife about 25 years ago, and I raised my family here. We own a home, so we are well invested in this community, in the city. I have been in various service positions in the city for quite some time. I started on the Lynnwood Planning Commission over a decade ago and served a full term there, as well as being chair of that commission. Subsequent to that, I've had other opportunities within both my congregation as well as within the Boy Scouts as a Scoutmaster and varsity scout coach. I was a mentor for Lynnwood High School students. More recently, I've been a member of the Cops and Clergy program, where the various congregations partner with the law enforcement of Lynnwood to share community ideas, opportunities, how we can improve the community. I served on the Civil Service Commission for a period of time before I was appointed to the City Council. I've been an appointee to the City Council for some time. And then beyond that, I've just been very active in opportunities to beautify Lynnwood, working with my neighbors. Just a lot of opportunity to meet the great people of Lynnwood and provide opportunities for service together with them.
Thank you very much. I'm going to let Lynnwood take the next. Lynnwood. Oh, I just realized Lynnwood and Linda. How much does that happen?
That's why I got the job. I'm sure.
The tongue twister. I'm going to let Linda take the next question.
Thank you. The next question is, Lynnwood has been cited as a model for regional growth. How does Lynnwood grow while still retaining the character of its existing neighborhoods?
Oh, isn't that a huge challenge? And that is top of mind, I think, of everyone across the city. Certainly in my engagements with friends and neighbors in the city, and just other people as well that maybe I don't know as well, but because of my work on the City Council have brought questions to us. Certainly for a very long time, residents of the city have been concerned that the growth that they're seeing in the city is taking away from the friendly community neighborhood feeling that has been Lynnwood for such a long time. It's very tough to balance the growth that's coming at Lynnwood. This isn't growth that Lynnwood is going out and seeking. It's not something that we're advocating, but it is growth nonetheless, and it's driven by just changing demographics and economics in our area. And we have to plan for that growth and manage that growth very carefully and ensure that as that growth occurs, we build the infrastructure into the areas of Lynnwood that are best suited to accommodate that growth. By that, I mean, really, we need to focus the infrastructure and the growth of the residential units and the retail and business that go with that in the downtown Lynnwood area by where the new light rail terminus is going in. 10, 15 years ago in the Planning Commission, we worked on zoning for that area to increase accommodations to allow that infrastructure, to allow that growth, to allow those businesses to come in, to go and gather up that investment from the business community so that we could afford to make that part of Lynnwood able to accommodate the growth that's coming at us. So going forward, we have to continue moving quickly in that space. We have to ensure that the investors that want to build in our city, that want to bring jobs, that want to help us with that infrastructure have as few obstacles as possible. We want to speed them through their applications, get their permits while making sure that they're adhering to and abiding by the zoning and regulation and legislative requirements that are there. Doing that will allow us to accommodate the pressure of growth we're getting from the county and from the state, while still ensuring that our neighborhood or single family residential neighborhoods maintain that very friendly, open, almost a rural type of a feel to those. Really allowing the best of both worlds, where we get the investment, we get the great jobs, but we still retain our identity as a very family friendly, kind of a neighborly type of community.
Thank you very much. Teresa.
Thank you, Linda. Councilmember Decker, what ideas do you have for addressing the city's homelessness issue?
Another big challenge. I like the progress Lynnwood is making in this space. There certainly is a long ways to go. The Blake decision recently has changed how our law enforcement engages when there is a potentially criminal issue with an individual in the community who is either showing drug use or mental instability issues. That is allowing, is actually, the language is actually, they empower and encourage the police to seek alternatives to incarceration wherever possible. That means that we are partnering with our local communities and other, some government, some non-government entities to bring those individuals to locations where they can get help for their drug abuse or their mental health issues, rather than assuming they should just go to a jail where they can sit for some period of time. That's a huge, huge opportunity, because it really does reduce some of the barriers of allowing our law enforcement to engage and interact with the homeless. They can better identify those who really will benefit from that type of support versus those who perhaps have other ideas for why they might be homeless. I'm a very strong proponent for enforcing the law. We have laws against crimes that are committed by people in homes and those who are homeless, and we need to make sure those laws are properly executed by the law enforcement. But we have to do it with empathy, and we have to first work with those individuals to identify what the challenges are that they're facing that is causing some of the behavior that maybe they're struggling with in the community. And then we identify solutions to those. And is that through increased mental health facilities? Is it through intervention? Is it through our law enforcement or our social workers that we're partnering with other areas in the region to bring to Lynnwood? Is it with those individuals to go out in those communities and ensure they understand that there are resources that are available to them, and when they lack the ability to get to those resources, actually provide the means to get them over to wherever those locations are, so they can facilitate themselves of those opportunities where they're interested in doing so.
Okay, thank you so much. And I'll turn it back over to you, Linda.
Thank you. How would you help Lynnwood businesses who have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic?
Lynnwood has taken some very concrete steps. The city council has taken some very concrete steps in this direction, and I really approve and like the direction that they're taking. Legislators need to work from a position of data. We need to make data-driven decisions, and that means first we have to collect data. And a lot of times we have anecdotal information that doesn't really qualify as sound data. And we have to ensure that we're not making decisions based on anecdote, but we do go out there and get real facts, hard facts. And so we're interested in gathering information from the businesses across Lynnwood regarding how they have been impacted, how significantly they've been impacted, and how they're considering being able to kind of regroup and pull out of the challenges that they've been facing. So in order to help those businesses, we first have to understand what their challenges are, who has faced the most severe challenges, and then look at resources that are available both from the city, the region, and even from the state. The next step then is to take the information around those resources and ensure that we communicate that to those businesses. And we need to do that in a host of different ways. We can do it online, we can do it one-on-one, we can use mailers. But it's important that when we're doing that, we ensure that this is not an English language driven activity. We have a large number of businesses who are more comfortable in languages other than English. And we need to ensure that our efforts to gather that data and then to provide information and support are provided in a way that's inclusive of the nationalities and the languages that the variety of businesses across Lynnwood represent.
Thank you very much. Back to you, Teresa.
Thank you. And that's a perfect segue for the next question, as a matter of fact. Do you have ideas for better engaging residents who have not traditionally been involved in city government?
I do. And I've been asked this a few times now since I've been on the council, and even while the council was considering appointments for the city council. My first idea, my first principle here is to ensure that when individuals look at the city administration, when they look at the city council, when they look at the mayor's office and the staff, that we represent a hometown type of a body where there is strong collegiality, there is strong friendliness, where we work on the issues and we ensure that we press and stress test the ideas that come forward, but we do so in a very professional way, in a way that brings ideas and does not quell people with ideas that may be different from what we were expecting. We need to make sure that we're very open to alternative ideas and that we really represent a growth mindset, that we are willing to look at various positions, recognizing that because of our different experiences and because of where we come from, what we've done, who our families are, who our neighbors are, that we expect other people who have ideas that are different from ours. And we should be able to welcome those and then work together to find a solution that is a balance between some very disparate needs across the community, but really represent the opportunity to bring the most benefit to the residents of the city. So really it boils down to ensuring that the council, administration, and staff, we're working well together and the community sees that. So they recognize this is a friendly place. This is a comfortable place. It's not a place where they need to come and be nervous that they'll be reprimanded, that their ideas won't be welcomed. Instead, it's a place where they can come and feel like we really are eager to hear from them. We would love to hear their ideas. We're excited about their experiences, their backgrounds, and what the great ideas that they have. Because I guarantee you the 35,000+ people that are in Lynnwood have a lot more ideas than just the handful of people that we have on the city council.
Thank you very much. Linda?
Thank you. We're going to look forward here a little bit. Could you name the top challenge you see for Lynnwood in the next 5 years, and how would you address it?
The top challenge definitely is growth, because a lot of the other challenges are offshoots of that. Traffic is a huge concern in the city currently, and for very clear reasons, it's going to become an increasing concern. But that traffic is really driven by growth, and growth is hindered by lack of infrastructure. So the biggest challenge that I really see is with the growth that's coming to Lynnwood, that in my view really is unstoppable. There's very little the city can do to change the pace of that growth or the volume of that growth. We have to ensure that we put the infrastructure in place, that the zoning and the ordinances are in place so that that infrastructure can manage the growth rather than the growth managing the city or overwhelming our infrastructure because we don't get ahead of it in time. If we don't solve for the growth that's coming at us, there's very little else that we focus on that will really be able to impact the community in any real meaningful way, because that growth will simply overwhelm our budgets. It will overwhelm our staff. It will overwhelm our roads. And in many ways, it will simply overwhelm our community. So intelligent planning, forward-looking, thinking about what we do today and how that's going to impact the city 10, 15, 20 years down the road, those are essential to managing growth and ensuring that we maintain the Lynnwood that we love as a wonderful residential community while we still are able to accommodate that growth that we're going to have to deal with.
Thank you. Back to Teresa.
Yes, so we're getting down to almost the end, just so you know. This question is, as a council member, how would you address concerns from marginalized populations who might not feel safe living in
I would ask the question, when you speak of marginalized populations, I'd be hesitant to assume that I know what you mean by that term. I might have some ideas what I consider a marginalized population, but I wonder if my ideas align to yours. So can you provide
Sure.
additional clarity on what marginalized populations might be?
Yes, I think that probably going back to our earlier discussion about people who maybe are not necessarily always involved in city government, maybe people of color, maybe people who are not always feeling like they can be part of the existing infrastructure of the city and might feel like they aren't safe to be able to speak up, or whether it's involved with public safety issues or police issues, that kind of thing. Does that help?
Absolutely. That, I appreciate that. That
And
helps
thank
me
you for
understand what your
clarifying
question
that.
is.
I think that's important. Thank you.
I have, I don't know, a dream. I have a vision. I have an idea in my head of a community where um, city council members, administration, staff are out in the community and are well enough known just by virtue of whatever means the city chooses, such that individuals that we bump into at the store just grab us by the elbow and say, "Hey, I got a question. I want to know what's going on with 196. I want to know what's going on at the rail terminus, the light rail terminus. I have an idea of how you can solve the getting more green space and getting more trees planted. I would love to be in a community where I was at a park with friends or with my family, and individuals felt completely comfortable walking up and saying, "Hey, I have an idea. Let's talk about it." And I think the role of the city council, I mean, it certainly used to be that way, is to be out there and to hear those ideas and to be available to the community in any of a different number of forms of communication. And then the city council has a responsibility to be responsive and to be respectful. It's hard for, I think, the average person on the street to feel comfortable sharing their ideas with someone who, to a large degree, is a stranger to them and has a role, an official role within the city. I think we have to overcome that barrier and ensure that we are reassuring the community that their ideas really are great ideas. Perhaps we can provide some additional information about the concern that they have. Maybe we've addressed it in a particular way and they can help us refine that. But it really comes down to ensuring that the persona of the city council members, staff, and administration is approachable. We have to make sure that we have a friendly, open persona and demeanor that people are comfortable with approaching us, bringing their ideas, knowing that we're not going to respond in a negative way. We're excited, we're happy, and we would love to hear their ideas, because there's a lot of people that are a lot smarter than us, but certainly they have a lot more experience. And we have to be able to build their trust so that they're willing to share and kind of take that risk that is part of coming forward and sharing those ideas.
Okay, thank you so much. Linda.
Okay, last question. And this is to, again, a little bit of pretend here. Pretend you are talking to a business owner who is considering relocating their business to Lynnwood. Give us your 30-second sales pitch for why the city is a good place for business.
Lynnwood is probably the best place in Puget Sound at this point for businesses to invest. We know that growth is coming. We know that populations are shifting all around the region. With the confluence of I-405 and I-5, as well as the light rail terminus, transportation into Lynnwood from north and south is extremely easy. You, as a business here, will be able to draw across a broad region of individuals that will want to work at and in your business. You'll be able to tap into some of the very smartest people in the region who are going to take advantage of the transportation opportunities, particularly the light rail and the mass transit, when those individuals don't want to be on the freeways. Lynnwood clearly is a business-friendly environment. I've been working with the staff, as I said, for many years, and we really enjoy and want to see new investment in Lynnwood, particularly businesses that are bringing good paying careers to Lynnwood, businesses that we haven't traditionally seen in this area. Certainly with COVID, we have come to recognize that an individual doesn't have to live in close proximity to where they work. With the availability of virtual operations and jobs, people are able to live farther away from where those offices are. But because of the confluence of all of the various transportation into Lynnwood, it's a great opportunity for those that want to work virtually where they can still get to the office in a very convenient way. Certainly the Lynnwood staff, administration, and council have been working on incentives to businesses to ensure that this is a business-friendly place, that our regulations and our ordinances ensure that we protect the people of Lynnwood, but at the same time that we encourage the growth of those businesses and that those investments come into our city, because this really is the best place to build at this point. We have a lot of fresh area, we have huge infrastructure underway, and of course we have the transportation to be able to accommodate the new businesses.
Thank you very, very much. Teresa, what would you like to add?
I think I'm going to throw a little bit of newness into the situation, because it occurred to me, Patrick, that you might have a final statement or closing information you might want to share with voters. In other words, why don't you use this opportunity for 30 seconds or a minute to tell people why they should vote for you?
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, thank you for hosting this forum. Being able to share our ideas and our views with the city, being able to share the vision that I have and what I hope that this city is and will continue to become is often very difficult. We can send out mailers, we can put out signs. Of course, we have our web pages and our Facebook pages that share the information, but being able to talk face to face, even if virtually, with the community gives a great opportunity for the community to get to know who we are, what our personality is, and what our dreams and visions are for this community. As I said earlier, I've been here for 35 years. Family, I have 2 sons that I've raised here. My wife is a first-generation immigrant. She moved here from Thailand. She moved to the US from Thailand when she was young. And that means my sons consider themselves to be mixed race Americans. They're Asian Americans, and they're quite proud of both of their heritages. I am a strong patriot. I love this country. I love this community. I love Lynnwood, and I am invested in it. We bought our home, and this is our forever home. This is where we want to be, where we want to retire. And in a very selfish way, I want to make sure Lynnwood is such a great place to live that my sons decide this is where they want to raise their families. They want to live here, buy homes, work either here or remotely, but raise their families here so that I get to be close to those grandchildren when they eventually come along, hopefully many years from now. But really, this should be a community where families, extended families across generations are able to live and grow, prosper and thrive, supporting one another, supporting their neighborhoods, supporting their congregations, supporting the city, and bringing that old home style type of a community of friendliness, helpfulness, and really looking out for one another throughout the community. This is really what I want to see in this community, and this is what my emphasis and efforts will be on the city council. I appreciate those who are supporting my campaign already, and I definitely appreciate all those who choose to vote for me in the election that's coming up. Thank you again for your time today.
Thank you so much. Anything else, Linda?
That is all, but I thank you very much for being here today, and we wish you the very best and appreciate your time. So thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed our conversations.